What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Martis Martial Arts. I hope and pray all is well with each and every one of you. Today's video is the third and final installment of a three-part series that I call Martial Art Moments. And in this video, I'm going to be having a conversation with my best friend Craig and a brother named Wes. We're going to talk about our different philosophies in the martial arts, how we all began our journeys in the martial arts, and where we think martial arts has evolved from back in the day to present day. And for a little bit of added fun, we're going to pick a movie title, a martial art movie title out of a box, and we're going to discuss it. So we're going to have some fun, we're going to have some laughs, and if you want to laugh with us, you want to have some fun with us, hang out with us and let's kick it. Let's take a journey and let's share a martial art moment. Hang around with us for a little while, y'all. The video's coming up next. Enjoy. What's up, everybody? Thank you for sticking around and tuning in. Thank you to my subscribers. I'm getting tongue twisted here. Thank you to the subscribers for supporting me. And if you're tuning in, I hope you become a subscriber. And you can do that by liking, comment, and subscribing. Today, I'm sitting here talking with my brother Craig and brother Wes, Shorin-ryu karate practitioner, Kuksul Wan martial artist karate practitioner, and I myself am a Shotokan karate practitioner. So, brothers, thank y'all for joining me.
Hey.
Toast.
Brothers gonna work it out.
Brothers gonna work it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man. So thank y'all for wanting to have this chat with me. My segment is called Martial Art Moments, and it's just conversations, anything involving martial arts. But you haven't trained in martial arts. Mm-hmm. You currently training in martial arts, and I currently train in martial arts. I want to ask you just a conversation based on where you all think martial arts has evolved and where it is today. Because the reason I ask is because I've been doing a lot of TikToking and Instagramming and YouTubing, and especially, and see, I'm the type of guy, I respect all martial arts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't down MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, or any other martial art, but they seem to down karate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes you see students who are doing a kata or practitioners doing basic kihon, applications. Yeah. And then you hear these knuckleheads in the comments, oh, that won't work in a real street fight. That won't work in the cage in MMA, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that would be like me going to a boxing gym and I see a boxer working a speed bag. And I'm like, hey, that's not going to work in a real fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how idiotic.
No. I completely agree with you. It depends on the application. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. Like you said, speed boxing is not gonna work in a street fight. Just like working on a wooden dummy is not gonna work in a real fight. Mm-hmm.
And anybody with an ounce of sense
knows that
these are it's practicing the techniques, the movement, building up your reflexes, building up your speed, building up your power.
Muscle memory. Exactly. So, and I know this is like a stretch, way off, and I know these guys are going to be mad at me, but it's just like when I'm
Hold on, man, let me get set.
No.
say the wrong thing.
No. It's just like when I'm on the golf course, when I'm practicing my golf swing, because that's honestly a passion of mine now, along with martial arts. I'm on a golf range. It's not the same as when I'm actually playing golf. Mm-hmm. You have to do different things to practice, but it's up to you and your innate abilities to know when to do what you need to do when you're in practical situations. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to practice your katas to know this is going to work in in a different situation. You know what I mean? Every kata is not going to work in every situation. Mm-hmm. But you practice those katas in order to be flexible enough to have that judgment to switch and operate in that situation. You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
It's discipline.
It's
Exactly.
Discipline.
But you know what? It makes total sense because I'm gonna tell you why. Coming up as a kid in the martial arts, I hated katas. I hated them.
I loved katas.
I hated katas.
Right.
All I wanted to do was get to the dojo and I want to fight.
They fight.
Teach me something to do and let me fight. But I realized that getting to the dojo and learning my basics and trying to fight, I was limited.
Actually, I love katas.
When I learned katas, and it wasn't until I got older that I had a very profound respect for katas because I realized that the secret to that style of that martial art, the techniques were hidden in the katas. And when I started to adapt myself to learn katas, and now I love katas. Katas are my favorite thing. But I realized when I started learning katas and learning the movement, that I was able to become a better fighter. And my techniques became better because I was able to extract what worked for me from the katas.
Here's the difference, though, is that a lot of people don't understand that you need to blend your katas together to adapt to the situation. Your one kata doesn't fit a situation. You know what I'm saying? So I loved katas. I loved katas because that made me sharper and it made me memorize my techniques. But what I was like, nobody's gonna really hit me this way and hit me this way, so I need to block this way. I was thinking basically. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking I had a basic...
You weren't thinking outside the box.
Exactly. I had a basic mindset like, nobody's going to really hit me this way, so I'm going to block here and then turn and block here. I didn't realize that the kata was preparing me to basically build my foundation. You know what I'm saying? That's what katas were, is build a foundation of just knowing how to react in different situations.
And not to mention, like you said, muscle memory too. You do katas repetitiously for years.
Yes.
And so whenever you do encounter someone and you're faced with a particular attack that is automatic.
Right.
Because you practice the movement so many times. And
that's what I'm
like
saying.
you said, that was your foundation.
Exactly.
When you have, in the Kuksul system, you have the Korean term of kata is hyung. Hyung, which is connected movement. So if you think of the hyung as in some terms, a simulated fight, but what it actually is preparing your body for different movements to connect to this, to move automatically in a way that your body knows that at this certain point, then this is where you go. Mind you, and like I said before, martial arts is adaptive. So you can't go into a fight thinking just a kata is going to work. Because you got to move in other ways to get this to a certain point where now when that strike is open, boom. I think the perfect movie to watch, there's two movies that I think of offhand, is I think it's Michael Jai White in
Blood and Bone.
No, not Blood and Bone. Never Back Down, either 2 or 3. So
I remember that.
He's out there. He's training. He's going through his kata, and they're talking about it, all the MMA guys. Look at this guy. Look at this old school.
I remember that. I remember that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 3. He's old, man. That stuff ain't gonna work. Look at this old fossil. And then when he gets in the ring with this guy, he's talking all of that. Yeah. His confidence is way high, and Michael Jai White tears him apart. He tears him apart and using the kata. So what they do a flashback on the kata that he's doing, and then the application in the fight.
Yeah.
And when you put it together, it totally makes sense.
Right.
And the other one is it's a Jackie Chan movie where he is playing Wan Fei Hung.
Okay.
A young version, Drunken Master.
Listen, bro.
Drunken Master. When he's a Drunken Master and he's going through the barrel of the Drunken Master and going through that and the application with that. So What your young does is it you adapt to the application on how you need to make these movements connect to get to the goal that you want to get.
I think this is a good segue into our next segment, into the movie aspect of it. I don't know, it's up to you. I don't want this your show, but can we talk about the movies you got in your chest?
Yeah, why not? All right. So I have what I call movie
Because
scrolls.
he talked about Jackie Chan and hey, come on, let's do it.
So I have a segment called movie scrolls. And what I'm going to do, I have a series of movies in this box. I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to grab one. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be Enter the Dragon. It could be something as old as Fearless Hyena or whatever. We don't know. But I'm going to pick it. And whatever I pick, I'm going to reveal it. And we're going to talk about it.
Right.
All right? So here we go.
Comes that Samurai Sunday. You know,
Right.
You got to key in right there.
Listen, I hope I remember the movie, man.
Mix these up. Rosen Theater in the McVicker.
Right, bro.
Chicago, Chi-Town.
Right, here we go.
Oh man, I'm nervous. I'm actually nervous right now. Hold on.
All right. This is our movie scroll. Let's see what the prize is. What we got here?
Oh.
Best of the best.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh,
And how fitting is that? Because you are
Yeah.
a Korean martial arts
Hold on.
stylist.
Okay.
yes.
I'll let you go with best of the best first. Go ahead.
Best of the best.
The
Starring
best of the best movie.
Philip Reed,
Philip Reed.
Simon Reed,
Yes.
James Earl Jones,
Yeah.
Chris Penn, Sean Penn's brother, Chris Penn, and a couple of other great names in the movie.
What's
I
his
think
name,
it was
man? Crawford.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts, bro.
How can I forget Eric
Come on.
Roberts? Eric Roberts. I think the movie was filmed in the 1980s, late 1980s.
Yes, bro. It's one of the best
I'd say
movies.
Early, no, 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Early
Come
90s.
on.
So what'd you think about it?
I'll let Wes go first.
Well, what did it mean to you? What did you think about the fight choreography?
You know, you had the epitome of the main antagonist was Daehan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole thing was all about Daehan. Everybody moved around, every other opponent, but it was all about Daehan.
Well, hold on. You okay, bro?
I'm good, bro. I'm just going laughing. Just go ahead, man.
Tommy
I'm
and
laughing.
Daehan. Tommy and Daehan. For me, the most pivotal and I would say the most beautiful martial arts move in that movie was towards the end where he did that roundhouse kick to the back of the knee, took Daehan to his knee, and then he did a spinning heel kick, a low spinning heel kick to the back of Daehan's head. I watched that scene. It's got to be
So
100 times. 100 times at this point. Because the movement is so crisp. And mind you, it's a martial arts movie. It's choreographed. But even choreography can be perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of those moves in Best of the Best, to me, could be realistic.
bro,
You know,
okay. I agree. You guys touched on both of the things I was just gonna say. I agree with you 100%. That move was excellent.
It's perfect.
What you just said, that it was realistic, maybe not.
some of the moves, not all
You know
of
what
them.
I'm
Some
saying?
of them.
Right.
So,
I honestly was impressed because a lot of the characters in the movie weren't actually martial artists.
correct.
But they did a pretty decent job back then. And I'm not gonna lie to you, maybe it was my age back then, you know, thinking that, hey, I was so excited with anything that I watched that was martial artists. Anything that I watched back then, I was excited about. Like, holy shit, they're fighting, they're doing martial arts, they're doing karate. I was excited about anything back at that time where I wasn't really focused on was it real. You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't
does
think-
that make sense?
Yeah, you don't think about
Like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I hate to bring him into this. Great martial artist to me, but his movies, you watch them back in the day, it was a phenomenal. But if you watch it today, it's like there's no way.
Well, you take that aspect of it, and then you have your
Am I lying though?
you have your fantasy part of it.
Thank you.
So
That's
so
what I'm talking
what
about.
it is I know Michael J. White did an interview. He said, "Well, it's my movie,
Right.
so I have to. There's certain parts of it that you have to do because this kick would actually not work. So you have to slow it down.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing. You have to slow it down to make it work for the camera.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
it has
but-
to.
Right.
A basic karate technique is not going to look. It's not going to be convincing or
Correct.
capture the. It's not going to give the audience that wow
But
factor.
guys, that's what my point
You have to
is.
embellish it.
That's what my
Right.
point is. Are we talking about cinema or are we talking about martial arts here?
But you got both.
Thank you.
So-
Thank
so
you.
you-
So,
you
so,
got both.
so are we talking
You
about
have
both?
to have the right
Thank
technique
you.
to be able to pull off the cinematic effect.
Bro, thank you.
Where, like in Best of the Best, and I don't know if you noticed this, Chris Penn, as far as his movements, and it kind of fit his character
Brawler.
Bro,
because he was a
listen.
brawler type.
He's a brawler.
What I'm trying to explain to you is for your channel is there's a difference between martial arts technique and cinema. And we're talking about Best of the Best right now.
Yeah.
And Best of the Best, who the star was? Julia Roberts' brother.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts. No martial arts skills. But he pulled it off.
Right.
For the
Right?
movie.
Exactly.
For the movie.
Thank you.
So here-
So thank you. That's what I'm saying. He pulled it off for the movie.
Right.
No martial arts skills, but he did it for the movie.
Right.
And we all love the movie.
Rocky, not a boxer.
Dude, we
But you make a
love,
movie.
we love the movie, bro.
Because you say, nobody would do that. You can
That's-
do that all day. Nobody would do Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. So are we talking about martial arts or are we talking about cinema?
Well, let's talk about the real martial artists.
There you go.
Simon Reed.
Simon Reed.
Thank you. That's where I wanted to go. Thank you.
Simon Reed and his brother. There was a scene
That's the only reason I watched that movie.
where Simon Reed grabbed Philip Reed, and in the scene he did a hook kick roundhouse
Yep.
quick.
Yep.
Yes.
That happens.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
real.
It's real.
Listen,
That happens.
so that's
And so-
exact.
It's real.
So
That's-
yeah, you had cinematic effect and you had real martial arts effect.
That's exactly what I'm trying to distinguish. I'm trying to distinguish for your audience what's what the real shit and what the not real shit.
But I think the good thing is that you can tell based on a martial artist, right? Versus
Yes.
someone that doesn't know martial arts.
If your audience is martial arts, yeah, they distinguish it. Yes,
But-
yes.
Here's how martial arts in cinema has evolved. So you take what's the movie with the kid,
What's
Karate
up?
Kid?
What
No.
the fuck you talking about?
Ninja Assassin.
Oh yeah.
Take Ninja
Oh, yeah,
Assassin.
yeah, yeah.
Korean
Yeah,
Rain.
yeah,
The Korean Rain.
Korean star.
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
star.
Now, no martial arts experience whatsoever.
Really?
None.
No. He's a
He
pop,
was
he's
a
a
pop
singer.
star.
What?
He's a Korean singer.
He's a Korean.
Wait, what
pop
movie you
star.
guys
Ninja
talking about?
Assassin.
Ninja Assassin. It's about it's maybe 10 years old.
With
now.
the black chick that was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That guy
So-
didn't know martial
Hold on.
arts.
Stop,
None
bro.
whatsoever. But wait. Here's the thing. The way he trained in his work ethic,
You gotta have respect for it.
now he's martial arts.
You gotta respect for it. You
He's
gotta
martial
res-
arts.
You gotta
So
respect
he went
it.
from movie to
What?
martial artist.
Bro, hold on a second.
Because when you watch the movie, the his movements, the way he trained,
Bro.
the way they brought him up from just a plain pop star.
He didn't have any muscle definition.
None.
Listen, hold on.
None.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I respect that, bro. that he had nothing. I had no idea, man.
Nothing. No.
Wow.
I said it to my my
Wow.
instructor. My instructor again. Shout out to Michael BX Hill. He said because he at the time he hadn't seen it, and then once he saw it, he said if he wasn't a martial artist then, he is now.
Wow.
Because it's
That's
a fine
crazy.
line between
Yes.
your training dictates whether or not you're
Yes.
martial artist.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how little or how much you train. If you've taken on the passion
Yes.
and the heart for the martial arts, you become a martial
Wow.
artist.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
He had no
bro.
martial arts experience.
That's wow.
And it's a phenomenal movie. A lot of fantasy.
I love it. Come on, man.
A lot of fantasy because we're talking
What are
about
you talking
ninjas.
about? That's one of my favorite movies.
But when you go into the aspect of now, he's jumping and running up against real martial artists, and he's holding his own from a movie standpoint and the physical ability to be able to do so.
So let me. I will say this, and I'm ashamed to say it honestly, and I'll say it in front of the camera right now.
Just don't cuss.
No.
Oh, he did cuss. I might have some work to do in post.
So when Jet Li first came on the scene, I was like, holy
Mackerel.
Jet Li was the real deal. I was like, it was refreshing. Like I had never seen anybody that was that cold on the scene. So we're gonna talk about Jackie Chan in a minute because I was a Jackie Chan fan back in the late 70s and 80s. We talk about him later. But Jet Li came into the scene first in
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon,
That's
bro.
where we saw it.
Lethal Weapon, bro.
He had been in all.
He's been in a lot of movies in Asia.
Listen. I was like, who is this dude? And what the hell? What is going on? And so I saw him, and that renewed my faith in these movies. But I just realized that he was in like this Olympic team.
He was in a Chinese wushu team.
Dude,
Beijing.
I had no idea that he was that cold until recently. That he was that cold, bro.
He's a beast.
Beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to have a segment just about Jet Li. I think we need to have a segment just about Jackie Chan because Jackie Chan, I pride myself on this. I'm not gonna say it now. When I was like 12, 13, I was watching Jackie Chan in all the 1970s and 80s movies, Spiritual Kung Fu, Fearless Hyena, all before he Rush Hour was even a thought. I was a Jackie Chan fan. So I want to have the opportunity to brag about that. so I think we need to have a talk about all that, bro.
Yeah,
all of that, man.
And that's right after Bruce Lee beat him up. So.
Dude, yes.
Bruce Lee caught him by the head and then snapped his neck.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that was Jackie Chan.
Yes.
And I know we're supposed to be talking about best of the best, but
Yeah.
Let me just say this real quick. Speaking of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon, so you had Jim Kelly in the movie, John Saxon,
also martial arts. Not John Saxon.
Bob Wall.
And
did y'all catch? And I believe that when Bruce Lee was being brought to the main boat, he was being rowed in the boat. I believe that was Yip Man.
You think so?
I think that was Yip Man. He put his teacher in the movie. Cause he sure looked like
look that up.
He sure I tried and it doesn't validate, but that guy looked like Yip Man. Cause he died. Yip Man, Bruce Lee died 6 months after Yip Man did.
Right.
So Yip Man died, I think, like in maybe there was like a 6 month difference between their deaths.
Man,
let me think.
And the Enter the Dragon came out after Bruce Lee died.
Correct.
If you look at the beginning of the movie, the guy rowing Bruce Lee in a boat, I think that's Yip Man.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Look
I'll look
Because he wore the same outfits Yip Man was known to wear, the same look.
That's kind of the culture, though.
right. I was
Well, I mean,
That's
but
kinda culture.
even his stature, the way that we're gonna look that up. That's gonna be if anybody knows if that was Yip Man, bro, and Bruce Lee on that boat in the beginning of Enter the Dragon, put it in the comment section and let us know.
Yeah.
All right.
I know he's talking about Best of the
I
Best.
thought we was just talking.
But at the same time, so you got to give a shout out to Sammo Hung.
Oh,
yeah.
Sammo Hung
Dude.
he's a beast.
He
People
is.
think because
Listen.
because you're a guy of big stature,
Listen.
rotund in some
Dude.
spaces that you can't move.
Sammo
That's an
Hung.
excellent prover that you know. It's
Sammo Hung did his thing.
he'll
bro.
get with you.
He did his thing, man.
He get with
Him
you.
and Jackie went to the same opera house
Chinese
school,
opera
right?
house.
Yes.
Yeah. And Yun Bao.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
I
best of
was-
the best, we're just simply talking about the first one, not the second,
Yeah,
third,
the
or
first
fourth.
First one was the best one to me.
Absolutely. And that, so, when they had the scene where they're training in the snow and all of that, that was amazing to me. That's just like Rocky with
You know
with Rocky
Russian
IV.
dude, man. But you know what? I was gonna say, man, and when I realized how, I apologize, to the audience, of the background noise. We got some women downstairs.
Yeah, our wives are downstairs.
Wives, family, yeah.
But
life.
Yeah.
when you see in Okinawa and in Japan how they train over there is totally different than how we train here in America.
Agreed.
Night and day.
Agreed.
Over there, they train to kill you.
That's their lifestyle.
Over here, we train for sport, a little bit of self-defense,
Exercise.
for just the
Exercise.
yeah. And so with Best of the Best, and the lady, I forget that actress's name, but she said it. Was it Sally Kirkland?
It could have been.
I could be wrong. I apologize if I'm messing up this lady's name. But in the movie, she said it best. You have to. In Korea, the way they train mind, body, and soul. Mm-hmm. And over here, she says, I've got to get you ready in just a few months. Whereas the team that you're going to be fighting in Korea have trained for all their lives. Mm-hmm. Totally different mindset when it comes to the training. And there's a scene in that movie when each of them got a profile of the person they were going to fight, and they were watching the videos. Yeah. These guys were breaking bricks, like 4 or 5 bricks with a solid punch, an elbow, a knee. And the American team was looking like,
right.
We got to fight. Are you serious?
When you bring up bricks and boards and things like that, it always amazes me. And this is martial arts teaches you how to take blows and then how to deflect blows. Mm-hmm. So, and this may be a little sidetrack, but when people say, well, nobody will come at you like that, and then nobody will just give you their hand, or...
No, I hate that.
Or, no, wait, what they say? Well, he started falling before he even hit him.
Right.
So, when a martial artist looks at that, you look at that as in terms of, this is how we're trained to take that blow or take that fall. Mm. When you're fighting somebody on the street, they're not trained to do that. They're trained to just stand there. Mm-hmm. They don't realize that martial artists pull back and give a lot. Because if you don't give, that elbow is going to snap, that shoulder is going to pop. Because when you get in a certain hold, grapple, and hit, that elbow is gone. So nobody doing that. He giving him his elbow. He falling on purpose. You better fall on purpose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the first things we learn in martial arts is how to fall. Mm-hmm. That's one of the first things. Before you get into the techniques, you got to know how to fall. You got to know how to move your body in a position where it's less effective damage to your body, to where you can continue to move and fight. So I want people out there on the channel that are not martial artists to understand that when we move in direct purpose to not get hurt, and also as a martial artist, we make that movement available so that our partner doesn't get hurt. Because if you're on the street and I go to pop your wrist like this, I'm looking for it to snap, crackle, and pop and get to the next one. So you would not have that again. You would not use that again. You won't use that hand again ever. What did he say in Bruce Lee? You'll never use his foot again.
Right.
So, for those that don't understand, you have to give to protect.
Yeah.
And that's some of the Buddhist principles. Buddhist principles are, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm not trying to kill you. But I want to make it to where you don't cause more damage on me.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like I said, I respect all martial arts.
Absolutely.
I don't talk about any other styles. I don't down anybody else's training or whatever. But, when you say karate doesn't work or this won't work and this, say it doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't muster it.
Yeah.
You couldn't stick with it. It was too tough on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't do it. So you want to sit there and say, oh, that won't work. You try that and this and all this stuff. Say it just didn't work for you, and there's no harm in it. It's martial arts is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You found something that works for you, great, but don't get mad and down karate or down kung fu.
I know. Yeah, I've been hit by.
Because my instructor said, hey, if you think that something doesn't work, come on down to the dojo and teach me how to do it better.
Right. Yes, sir.
I've been hit by everybody. Karate, kung fu, taekwondo, hapkido. When it hits you, it hurt. Hey, if it works, it works. If that gets through, then hey, nothing you can do about it. You take that L and just keep on moving.
Let's do it.
But that's what builds you as a martial artist because you learn.
Exactly.
You learn certain techniques. I think it's been said that Bruce Lee had never picked up a what they call a nunchuck in that. He had never picked it up before prior to the movie, and Chuck Norris introduced him.
Yes.
Because it was never part of the Wing Chun arsenal or the Jeet Kune Do.
Yep.
But he took that, and what did he do?
Mastered.
He mastered it.
Bro.
And did it better than the person that
So
listen.
Martial arts is mastery, but even in mastery, you're still not complete because there's still more to do in that area of whatever you're doing.
Yes. Like, you're not lying, because I looked at it, I was like, I saw what Bruce Lee was doing, I was like, come on, that's not what I was taught. But he did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he did it the way it made
sense to him.
exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he
Even the way he held the nunchucks wasn't
dude, it wasn't the standard.
He held them reverse grip.
It wasn't the way that I was taught. It wasn't the way that I was used to learning how to manipulate them. But he made it work, you know. And I was like, hey, whatever you gotta do, make it work. Hey,
you coming up in the era of the '80s, early '90s, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My weapon of choice was the nunchuck.
Listen.
And then later I got into more sword play.
I love the katana sword.
So you guys are sword guys. I was more the karate sticks because when I had the foam sticks that I learned how to do. I learned how to, and I mastered the foam sticks. Bro.
Then you got the real boys and popped yourself in the
head. I still got 2 sticks today where I work at the same time, and it's
back in the day, you had your 2 sticks that you cut off a broom and you put a chain and nailed it through.
Of course.
And that was your nunchuck.
Of course, bro.
Did it tear you up? Absolutely.
It tore me up.
It tear you up.
But then I went, and then they had a store that bought with the foam that came around it, and I learned. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how the influence of martial arts it grabs you at an early age. I got video of my son when he's 3 years old. watching me over time, and then sitting with me watching martial arts movies. It goes to the point where he's jumping around. He's on the couch. He's all that. So I started him in martial arts when he turned 7.
Okay.
I think 7 for me personally. 7 is the perfect age for a martial artist because to start the journey in martial arts, because at 7 they're out of that crying stage. They're understanding the instruction that you're giving them outside of just running around a little obstacle course and doing this and the other. They start to put it together. I started him when he was 7, and he's 16 now. He's first degree black belt in Kuk Su. When he got his black belt last year, and I'm proud of him because coming up, I wasn't a jock. I wasn't I didn't play basketball. I tried baseball. Didn't play football. I'm more of an individual sports type of guy. So you move your kids the way you move. If I had been a football guy, he probably would have played football somewhere. But my thing was the martial arts, and me watching it so much and being so delved into it, he gained a love for it. So when he got of age, then I put him in, and he fell in love with it himself. He's moving now. That martial arts give you that confidence.
Yes.
To face fear.
Yes.
To move in an area where people don't expect you to move because they don't see what you're doing. When you're training and you're the hard training, and you survive because when you go home, now you get to rest.
So
that hard training. We train at Kuk Su. We train hard. We train hard, but then too we play hard. We teach you how to build you up, break you down, and then mellow you out.
So I'm gonna say this, Wes. I got my son into martial arts. It ended up being Taekwondo though, because I wanted to teach him. It wasn't necessarily about defending himself and protecting yourself, building that confidence. You know what I'm saying? Get out there and do that. Just do. Literally, my son, Lil Craig, first class, I'll never forget. He was kneeling with the rest of the class. He was crying in class. And I went over to him like, hey, it's all right, man. They're not doing anything extra. It's just like, relax and just follow the instructions. It's cool. And eventually he built the confidence, dude. So I got him into, I necessarily didn't like Taekwondo because I didn't like really the Taekwondo style. But that was the only thing that was there to teach him that confidence. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, not that there's anything wrong with the Taekwondo style, but I just didn't think it was effective in the fighting styles of today. You know what I'm saying?
Without understanding that that the principles.
Exactly.
You got principles, and like I said before, you have application.
Right.
Now, you may have a Taekwondo, karate, Kuk Su, Hapkido, Kempo, Ninjutsu practitioner, Wushu, Kung Fu, that they're just practicing.
Right.
They're just practicing. They're practicing the movement for what they need it for, is to keep them healthy. What they do, but then you have that martial arts practitioner or student, that's taking what they're learning and applying it. Right. It's the application, and then adapting. At that moment. So the thing is with kids, you have to understand that they take what you tell them to do, they're going to do, and they have to get to the point of application. Right. Because you see the kids on the playground, they're doing, somebody's about ready to fight them, and then they get in the stance. Right. And get their clock clean. Because they're just thinking that this is what I have to do, and then once their clock get clean, they be like, it didn't work. Like, But no, you can't just stand there and let somebody hit you. But you have to. They have to get to a certain point, and it's that confidence level that it builds. Yeah. Now we know, as an adult, you see the kid, with the little 1/4 inch board, and they
Right,
say, yeah,
exactly.
and break the board.
Exactly.
For the kid, oh my God, I never broke a board before.
Yeah.
As a parent, oh my God, he never broke a board before. But is that board going to cause any damage, or is this forced to,
Right.
with
You're
that,
right. You're
or
right.
do anything? But it's building. It's a building block.
I was just about to say that. So my building block was with little Craig breaking the board. Because when he grew up, he was like really sensitive and unsure, like afraid of everything. I'm like, dude, if you break this board, you can do anything. You know what I'm saying? So my whole point to put him into the class that I put him into was not really about self-defense. It wasn't about. It was about really building his confidence. Like, hey, you can break this board, bro.
Yeah.
Break the board. And then after you do that, now I can teach you, you know what I'm saying? We can get to this next level. You know what I'm saying?
It's moving on level.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
You see I see a lot of memes on Facebook. I say a black belt, the black belt is not the goal.
Right.
Black belt is the beginning. When you finally get to and attain black belt, if you don't understand that there's still a whole lot of work that's involved after that, you think that you're the end all.
Right.
Black belt.
Right.
That's when you get
A black belt is not
Right.
is not a goal. It's just a black belt is one that didn't give up and didn't quit. So when you move and you keep going and you progress,
That's exactly
you
why
develop.
I was afraid to do the broadcast, because I didn't make it to a black belt, bro. I only made it.
Hold on. Life be life. You know,
So-
it's directions.
I hear what you're saying.
Here's the thing. I started when I was 25. I'm 54. I'll be 54. Did I do martial arts from the time I was 25 to 54? No. I had a hiatus in between for like 14 years. That, my work schedule changed. Life started life, and I got married, had kids, and all of that. I had a mini stroke when I and I had a mini stroke but that was after I had my kid had gained that baby weight. When she gained weight, you gained weight, and all of that. Had a mini stroke, didn't take my medication like I was supposed
Bro,
to.
I
I got
idea,
260, just sitting on the couch.
No idea,
I
bro.
was sitting there and it started going numb, and I was like, I'm trying to shake it off. I'm having a mini stroke.
Bro, are you
But I said, look, the only thing that I knew to get me back where I needed to be, because mind you, I'm sitting there and 10 feet away is my weight bench, my treadmill, and all of that. All of that sitting in the corner became the coat hanger. The only thing that I knew to get me back was going back to class. That was on a Thursday. That Monday, I was signing back up and I started back fresh. But then when I got there, after that workout, I said, damn, what did I just do?
Bro,
I just set myself
listen.
up. Because my
that
our
need to be on
philosophy,
your channel, bro.
our philosophy
Are you
was,
kidding me?
my teacher said, I've given you enough to continue to do without having to learn anything else. If that makes sense. So I've given you enough for you to take care of yourself and
Right.
train to the level that you know.
That was just like Bruce
But
Lee.
then
bro.
what life does, life makes you forget that. Life makes you stand and get stuck in this place.
We still filming, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shit, man.
Keep going.
No, I'm sorry.
Keep going. Life gets you to be in this place, and then you get sedentary in that place. But then life it can give you another place to be in, forcibly, to let you go back to where you need to be. So I went back to class, and I've been back ever since. That was 2000. I went back in 2009, and I've been back ever since.
Wow.
My knees not like they were when I was 25. You got 2 torn rotator cuffs, arthritis in both knees. But if I'm like a shark in water, if I stop, I die. So martial arts is a part of my life that I just will not give up.
And that's the thing, people look at martial artists, a lot of black belts out here that have put in a lot of training in their lives, but age has gotten the best of them, some physical ailments, and they think, oh man, this guy, And I know when I was younger, I was fast, I was, swift and combinations and powerful and crisp. And as you get older, I got back problems, I got neck problems. We all don't move the same. But best believe I can adapt. To handling business if need be.
Yeah. Because you make it quicker.
Exactly.
Because I ain't got time to be fighting with these. So I work for the Cook County Sheriff's Department. So, so people ask me all the time, do you use martial arts at work? I say when I have to. When I have to, it's either one of two ways. It's either actual physical or that mental judo. It's that mental judo that you have to keep in mind because everybody doesn't take to the physical, and the way our society is right now, everything can't be physical. You got to move into, you got to get into the mentality of people, but you have to have that switch in between where you can cut this off and turn this on. And as a martial artist, that helps because you can look at somebody and say, "Man, I just killed you 5 times. You just don't know."
Right. Exactly.
You just don't know. I just took your life 5 times in my head. You just don't realize it. But how you doing, brother?
Right.
And keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because is it worth it? Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But you keep on. You got to pray. You got to stay prayed up. Take care of your body, your mind, body and spirit, and your soul. And let martial arts be your catalyst and take you into the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper.
No, I agree with that. It's like, and I don't know, you guys might disagree with me, but I think martial arts to me is maybe the last option, if that makes sense. And I don't know if you guys agree, but think about Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was like, master the art of fighting without fighting. That scene where he was like, "Hey, you get on the boat, and we'll fight." When dude got on the boat, he
reeled him away like
he
a
reeled
fish.
him away. He reeled him away, and he didn't have to fight. You know what I'm saying? He mastered the art of fighting without fighting. You know what I'm saying? So there are situations where you don't always have to resort to violence and fighting. You
can win the fight just by walking away.
Exactly. You can win the fight just by like looking at the dude like you're stupid. You don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And fighting is the last resort, if you will. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And I can say in my profession, just so happened today, they say, "Hey, we got a guy. He's like 6'3", he's jacked, and he's a 1096 mental health guy." So they call me. I'm like, "What you call me for?" Because you know how to fight. You a martial artist. I'm like, "Hold on, no. Call me. Hey, call the people. Call everybody with the tasers and all that." So, but then I get up there. I'm like, I turn the physical martial arts
Right.
off.
Yes.
I said, "Hey, my man, what's going on? What we doing?
Thank you.
What we doing?"
There's a
No. He's all trying to. I said, "Don't nobody want to do all that."
There's a mental martial.
I don't need to deal with the reports.
Yes.
I don't need to deal with this. I don't need to be going because you probably going to send me to the hospital, but you'll be in the hospital with me. So we don't need none of that. Let's just hey, go on. We're gonna take you over here. We're gonna do this, get you processed, and you keep on going about your business. Now, everything that you do, you mess up, you start fighting, all that's gonna go against you, and you don't want to be here anyway, and I don't want you to be here. But at the same time, we need to take care of this business so we can do what we need to do.
Right.
And then you say, "All right, man, you bring it down, de-escalate,
Right.
de-escalation. It's
Bro.
mental judo. You
That's
have to
exactly
use
what I'm
it.
talking about,
and it
bro.
moves all. You just have to turn that switch.
Exactly.
Turn that dial, switch it on, switch
Bro.
it off, and know the difference in between the two.
Exactly.
That's what martial arts is.
Exactly, bro. Yes.
Like I said, I killed it 5 times. You just didn't know. But here, this is what we gonna do.
Man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's really what martial arts is about.
It is.
You train in martial arts so you don't have to fight.
Right.
What
And those that want to fight all the time are going to get beat.
Right.
That's
Because of my
absolutely
society.
true. So I will say this, and I don't know how much you're gonna put on the cast, but I will say this: one of the reasons, I wouldn't say the main reasons that I got into martial arts. I've always been a lover of martial arts, but I was picked on as a kid. I was bullied as a kid, and I never felt that I could defend myself. Right. As soon as I started taking martial arts, and I felt confident in myself that I could defend myself, I never needed to, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Sense, yeah.
Like before then, I was like, dude, I was always being picked on, always bullied on.
Because of ears. Right?
But it's but as soon as I started taking martial arts and starting learning how to defend myself, nobody picked on me after that.
Because you walk different.
I walked
You walk
different.
different.
I had different confidence in myself, and I didn't have to fight. I didn't have to.
Your steps.
Yeah.
Your steps are different. Your
Yeah.
gait is different.
Yeah,
Your presence is different.
Yes.
Your energy is different.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
when you see a lion on the hunt, they're not going for the strongest one.
Yes.
They're not going for the strongest
Absolutely.
antelope.
Absolutely.
They look for the weak one.
Absolutely.
The one is going to fall back. So when you walk in confidence and you walk in with the spirit of a warrior, nobody really wants to test that warrior. I get the little weak one before I
Exactly.
with the strong.
I always thought I had
Unless
to
you're one
fight.
of these little knuckleheads out here now, they're the little guys.
You're right.
You ain't worried
You're
about
right.
them because they can't fight anyway.
Yeah.
That's why we
They
in
don't
the
fight.
position
They
that
don't
we are
fight.
now.
Yeah.
And they look at us as old cats. They don't want nothing from us because, we got them hands for them. And they ain't ready for that.
Man, this was some good conversation topics, man. And I hope y'all enjoyed this. And hey, if I could just have some fun for a quick sec, tell me a fun fact about yourselves that nobody knows.
Holy shit.
What's a fun fact? Like, it could be martial arts related, it could be something else. But what's just like a fun
fact for me? I think my purpose on this earth is at some point in your interaction with me, I can bring a smile or a laugh. That's my job. Is to take off that negativity and get you to smile or laugh. That's my purpose.
Okay.
That's because I don't like. If you sad around me, I may do something. I might fart or something. I mean, something to make you laugh. Get your mind off of whatever it is that's toiling you and breaking you down inside. My job is to lift that up off of you, if only for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
If only for a second.
Wes is my guy. I'm not gonna lie. I will confess to that. He's down to earth, cool dude. But what was your question? I'm sorry.
What's a fun fact
Holy
that nobody
shit.
knows about y'all?
Hold on a second. Damn. So the only thing that I could think of is the first thing that come to mind is Last Dragon. Last Dragon. I used to spar with this dude in the alley in the backyard of my house, and he would always beat me. And then when I saw The Last Dragon, Bruce Leroy, I just knew I was Bruce Leroy, and he gave me that energy to be like, oh, I could beat this dude because I could never beat this dude before. But I was like, I can beat this dude. I saw The Last Dragon. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this move on him, and I'm going to win because of The Last Dragon. El DeBar is in the background, the music playing, the spirit music of the night. He kicked me right in my throat, bro.
And the music stopped.
And the music stopped, bro.
You was feeling it. You had to glow for a half a second.
Bro, that movie and that music had me so hyped. I was on the top of the world, that I could do anything. I knew I was Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
I knew I was the Last Dragon. And I went to make a move and it kicked me in my throat. And I couldn't breathe and I couldn't do nothing. He called me. I was like, okay, I need to start taking lessons, real lessons at that moment. That was the best. That was the moment where I was like, okay. That was the moment where I was like, let me separate fantasy from reality.
Right.
I need to take lessons and start getting real with martial arts.
Yeah.
That was the moment that separated me from fantasy to reality. You know what I'm saying?
And 40 years later,
Right, exactly.
we about to go in there and watch The Last Dragon.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Well, I'll tell y'all a quick fun fact about me. You probably know this, but I know you don't, and members of the audience don't. But everybody knows Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the story behind Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my Uncle Charles, God rest his soul, he passed away in January of this year. But my Uncle Charles and my dad were friends of Emmett Till's.
Mm-hmm.
They played together as kids, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's some interesting stories that my uncle has.
Mm-hmm.
When he got into a altercation, I guess Emmett Till, my uncle, and another kid, they went around the corner from where my grandmother lived, and Emmett Till climbed up into a tree to get, I don't know if it was a pear tree or apple tree or whatever, and the kid shot Emmett Till in the behind with a pellet, they called them zip guns back then or something like that. Shot Emmett Till in the behind. Emmett Till came down out the tree, and the kid said he blamed it on my uncle. Emmett Till was bigger than all the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was big for his size, and apparently he chased my uncle back to my grandmother's house. And my uncle slammed the door, and my grandmother came to the door. Boy, you better get out of here before I go tell Mamie. His mother's name was Mamie Till.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I got to go to Mississippi, but when I come back, I'm going to whoop your son. He has a speech impediment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the time he left Mississippi that following day and never came back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my Uncle Charles and my dad were Emmett Till's friends.
Yeah.
So that's just a fun fact. Not
rest-
necessarily about me, but about my family.
Rest in peace, Emmett Till, and love to the Till family.
Yeah, definitely. But man, I appreciate this conversation.
Oh yeah.
Hope you all appreciated the conversation. We kind of went off format a little bit, but we were having fun. It was real. It was raw. It was just what came to our heart, what came to our minds, because we're martial artists at heart and warriors in mind, and just all of it in spirit.
Yeah.
So hope you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll bring more content just like this. I'll interview interesting people like these brothers here. And when it comes to martial arts, have fun with it, be safe, respect all martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one martial arts that's better than another. It all leads to through different paths up the same mountain to get to one common destination. Mm-hmm. But we all have different pathways of getting there. So on that note, love martial arts, respect each other, and let's journey together. Until next time, thank y'all for joining and tuning in. And thank y'all for
Yes, sir.
cheers.
Cheers.
Love and happiness. Let's shout out Cooks of the Chicago Muay Thai Federation.
Hunter Shotokan Karate.